I think there's an irony that you can't get beyond here, that you will be voting to authorize to send arms to an ally of al-Qaeda. These are forces that are allied fighting against the government of Syria, and I have no love lost for Assad. I think he's a horrible authoritarian like so many. But you will be funding today the allies of al-Qaeda. It's an irony you cannot overcome. It's an irony you cannot overcome.
A coordinated international effort is essential to give Syria's moderate forces the upper hand.
This new effort will provide training and equipment to help them grow stronger.
All the Syrian people are asking for is support in our voices and in our activities, and they deserve that.
The United States military says Syrian rebels they have trained have given vehicles and ammunition to the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front.
Sending arms to so-called moderate Islamic rebels in Syria is a fool's errand and will only make ISIS stronger.
Breaking tonight, an embarrassing moment in our fight against ISIS as the terror army claims to have gotten its hands on even more U.S. weapons and ammunition.
ISIS grew as the U.S. and her allies were arming the opposition. So as we've sent 600 tons of weapons, ISIS has grown stronger.
The $500 million program had once been a linchpin of the strategy to defeat ISIS, but so far has proved a fiasco. It was put on hold after a band of fighters turned over their U.S. supplied equipment to terrorists linked to al-Qaeda.
Remember what I said a year ago. The ultimate irony is that someday these weapons will be used to fight against Americans. If we are forced onto the ground, we will be fighting against those same weapons that I voted not to send a year ago.
And this idea we'll never have any boots on the ground to defeat them in Syria is fantasy.
The interventionist clamor for boots on the ground. We should remember they were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about Syria.
I suspect that Rand Paul doesn't know jack about the Syrian rebels. I'm not sure that any of us knows enough about them. John McCain, who's been over there at least, thinks he knows them. And he says they're not a bad lot.
I guarantee you that they are moderates. I know them and I've been with them.
Who are the opposition forces fighting to topple the Syrian leader, Bashar al-Assad? Today, one of the rebel groups officially joined up with a branch of al-Qaeda.
Intervention when both choices are bad is a mistake.
I don't think any member of this committee that I know would vote for anything that we thought was going to arm al-Qaeda on the
But I don't buy the narrative that the Syrian people are risking their lives to become a branch of al-Qaeda.
Intervention when both sides are evil is a mistake.
On one side in Syria, there's a dictator slaughtering his own people. On the other side, a group that just swore loyalty to al-Qaeda. So the civil war is a murderer versus a bunch of murderers. So the winner will be a murderer.
If there is a theme that connects the dots in the Middle East, it is that chaos breeds terrorism. What much of the foreign policy elite fail to grasp, though, is that intervention to topple secular dictators has been the prime source of the chaos.
Saddam Hussein and his sons must leave Iraq within 48 hours.
It says clearly to Saddam Hussein, this is your last chance. Disarm or be disarmed.
The barnacled purveyors of war should admit their mistakes and not compound them.
Was it a mistake to go to war in Iraq?
No, I don't believe it was. The world is a better place because Saddam Hussein doesn't run Iraq.
Today, I authorize the armed forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya.
Senator McCain called these Libyan fighters his heroes.
The problem with sending U.S. military to help rebels in Libya or anywhere else is that we are taking sides in a conflict and on behalf of a people whom we know nothing about.
And for the United States, there's only one acceptable outcome: the removal of the Gaddafi regime.
Let's act now to get rid of a tyrant who's abused and killed his own people, who is procuring weapons of mass destruction.
The choice is disarming him by war or letting him have these weapons of mass destruction.
That taking out Saddam Hussein turned out to be a pretty good deal.
We should remember they were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about Syria. When will we quit listening to the advocates who have been wrong about every foreign policy position of the last 2 decades?